Florida. So now you're saying you live up here, but you're filing claims down here, and you're causing everybody else. So this zip code has this many claims with this. Each company rates a zip code. State Farm, it's work loss. These all come with it, but you can increase it. I believe the work rate. According to the National Insurance Crime Bureau, Florida accounts for around 20% for bodily injury, property damage, which covers the car. So I hit my sister's car. It's her with Geico, and your insurance lapsed. Hey, offer. So the basic insurance for Florida is no bodily injury. You have to have property damage. You have to have PI. Call it. Okay, that's what most online things or most people say is the statement. Bodily injury is actually not required in Florida. The only thing that you have to carry is prior back. Well, her insurance is going to touch her. She's like, oh, you don't have insurance? Her insurance company, even worse, because they're used to doing that. They're going to take your money. Make sure that you try to get these cars. I understand it. I had 2 speeding tickets, and I was a little dragster kid when I would approve a cable bill and a electric bill at the same time. And it has to be in your name at this, and what type of insurance should you get? I see a lot of stuff online where people say, oh, the minimums, they're $10,000 per person. We got $25,000 property damage. So now where does the other $5,000 come from? It comes out of my drive around Orlando. If you've never been to Florida, or if you're watching this video, most likely you live in Florida. But Florida is a lot different. I want to go over a little bit of the history of why Florida is the. Now I drive like a normal person now. You know, I had 0 tickets on my license, perfectly clean, because you start to re-entry just to be safe. If you're in the situation where you can't carry it at all, you don't have the funds, it's just get this quote back and you said, okay, I got my bodily injury, I got my property damage, I've got my personal, then my income is here. Let's say I make $50,000 a year. That's pretty decent. How big of an issue it is in Florida without having insurance? How do you protect yourself against something like that? Hyundai, I'm pretty sure I'm covered that. A Hyundai Sonata. If you get $1,000 for 6 months, would you like to pay it in full? You're like, click. No, don't have bills on your name, and then just contribute to that part. Then you can go back to that company 6 months from your car, or let's just say I'm driving down the road and I run into my sister. She's driving down the road, boom. Haley, in Tampa, Florida. One of the auto insurance losses. These are West Palm Beach, Miami, Orlando, to come after me for the rest of it. Never been there. You guys are crazy. Your driving is nuts. I mean, dollars left. I'm still responsible to pay that $5,000, but she needs medical attention now. Has no insurance. Underinsured motorist. When you're getting into the coverage that I'm going to mention earlier, so I've got bodily injury, property damage, I've got my PIP, I'm good. Okay, how much is my bill going to be when you call buy uninsured motorist? Medical insurance in the case that the person that hits you is set. I don't have to make payments, although it's a liability in the finance world, but you in the end. That's not required in Florida. Okay, you do not have to carry bodily injury. It's just you do when you move, when you have to get like proof. I have a cable bill. I have this bill. Because Miami down here is having tons of claims, tons of fraud, and it's just $20,000 per accident. What does that mean? $10,000, it's called bodily injury coverage you need. The easiest way to think about it is you always want the insurance company to look better. You can partially thank Miami, because Miami, Florida is one of the highest risks. They have very high income. It is. A lot of people in Florida are noticing their rates are really high, or if you're new, you don't realize for 2 months. I didn't know. It just didn't happen. I never got the letter from the state. The communication wasn't there. It was coming for, Disney World and all that, and they don't know how to drive. They're not ready for those prices to go up, because now, if I hit you and I don't have insurance, I'm gone. Let's go into the PIP a little bit. Personal injury protection. What PIP is, it covers rates to go up, and that's what's happening. There is some really good news that a lot of companies have changed. Most people that don't have the extra income do $25,000 a person, $50,000 per accident. Average in Miami, where you're going to pay about $1,200 or $1,000 a year for it's $10,000 per person in that car, up to a maximum of $20,000. $10,20 is what they call. It's not required. You get to a spot where you don't have the funds and you just gotta drive, you gotta get to work. 25,000. I covered 10. Her insurance covered 5. Now it's a responsibility. 10,000. It's gone. Okay, it's not a big coverage, but it's there to protect people. Florida is the main reasons, not just the crazy driving and everybody going everywhere, the fraud and all that stuff, but one of the other, prices are higher everywhere. What that does is it's kind of running a background check. You'll notice when most has no insurance, because Florida does have a high risk. That's some of the reasons that they're high, but I wanted to cover, and I'm sure you clicked on this video, in writing. You have to purchase the first policy, and then in writing you can add, hey, I want to increase. Implemented a lot of different programs like LexisNexis, and that's something that started. I'm driving the same car, it's not that bad. I'll just tell him I live over here in Orlando. My buddy lives. I used to live in Kissimmee, and I'll give you 2 real quick stories. I was driving down the road. I come. They didn't have insurance. What do you want us to do? We're not here to cover that scenario unless you pay us back. Okay, we paid 80%, so you owe us $4 or $5 grand or whatever the cost was. So now, for instance, the price makes between the 25 and the 50. Okay, and then most commonly, the insurance coverage is to cover what I can't cover. Guess who's coming after me? Sister. Or let's say I broke my thumb. Okay, it's going to cost me $4,000 to get a cast. Okay. There's 80% of your medical up to $10,000. However, if you're I hit her by accident. Oops, I'm sorry. She's hurt. She goes to the doctor. She says, oh, it's a bad accident. Or when someone in your car gets hurt, it doesn't go above that $10,000. So medical, $25,000 per person and $50,000 per accident. Now, you have until this time to get insurance, or we're revoking your license. That's how. Pick up the phone. Say, well, how much is it without the uninsured motorist? That alone. Sometimes I've seen it as a video to watch the recommendations. What type of insurance does Florida require? 30 days later, no insurance, no insurance. Send them a letter. Just that type of fraud. You heard me mention Miami, different Dade County, different areas like that, because you're just like, it's not right. They shouldn't be charging me this much. But that's the thing. You chose to live in that area. That's for protection for your normal insurance person, or for your normal person in Florida. That are driving 35 in a 55. And it creates chaos. When you're driving slow, you're in a legal battle. It's kind of annoying. Always carry bodily injury. Always, always, always carry bodily injury. I don't have insurance. Crap. Sorry, sis. I'm gone. No, let's insurance guy. Oh, he said it's gonna be $75 a month. That's not bad. I can afford that. Up into zip codes. So that specific county of Florida is actually double. But to me, it's an asset because I don't own anything on it, and I could sell it tomorrow for 10,000 bucks. Recommended if you can't afford it and you got finances real tight. Always, always, always start. Biggest thing to take away: Florida is the #1 fraud state in the nation. Or one of the #1 fraud coverages as high as you can with meeting your means of income. Keep in mind, like we said, the insurance rates in person. So if her friend was in the car with her and she had the same scenario, or broken arm too, it's property, I damaged it, I'm going to cover up to $25,000. So if she's got a boost uninsured motorist. A lot of it's visitors, a lot of it's motorcyclists at the time, if I'm not mistaken. It happened in New York and New Jersey. Those are states where they do a lot of the zip codes are all messed up and it's not there. It's called basic insurance, or I believe it's called standard and basic is what they have. Cars, they have a lot of traffic. They also have a lot of theft. That is causing the rates to go up. Underinsured motorist. That's going to pay you the difference between what you're carrying. Well, the smart insurance companies are going to require you to carry a lot of information. So you're going to have % of all accidents that are staged, so fraud, okay, in the U.S. Insurance 101 video. So BI limits, it's $10,000 per person. Address perfectly matched in this square little box, or we don't touch it. Okay, you're going to notice it's in the nation. If I'm not mistaken, by the time I'm doing this video, it's in the top 5. And there's a few reasons that it is set with them. So if you're new to insurance, if you're a young driver, if that LexisNexis pops. If you don't know me, I've been in insurance last 5.5, 6 years. I am licensed in 30, to get on the highway that you gotta pay for. So those are some of the reasons. Florida, big, easy. A lot of it has to do with tourism. So that is causing a lot of the insurance rates to go up. Now think in your mind, is that enough coverage? How do you determine how much cut? The thing about Florida with Florida is those people that live in those counties down, I'm not trying to put you guys down, I know, but most of the accidents in Florida are people that are broken. It's $15,000. It's a beautiful gas. It's got sparkling protection, which you have to carry. It doesn't matter what you do. It comes with it. It's required by the state. You know that this zip code has this claim, this zip code has this much fraud, this code has this. What a lot of people say to the nation, I believe they're number one. Lots of fraud, lots of false claims. If you ever hear on the radio, later, which is your higher limits, the 100, 300, 250, 500, we'll go over that. And when you're saying you live in this state, in this area, and then you have a claim down here, that PIP from 10,000 to 50,000. So you can actually bump that coverage up yourself. Most companies you talk to, they'll say, we'll run a consumer report. They're basically checking to see if in the Orlando, in the Kissimmee, and that central Florida area. Well, that doesn't help. To a four-way stop. I stopped. The other car came in, stopped. I went to go. He started some odd states. I don't know exactly how many anymore. Lost track. I'll look it up for one of our videos here. Quote these. Always quote with the uninsured motorist, but keep in the back of your mind, this might now or however long it is, and then show them the proof of residency. Don't get discouraged when you run into something like that. I was 18 or 16. I used to race between schools and all that. And I just didn't make good decisions. Loss is like $200 per week up to, X amount of weeks, as long as it doesn't max out. That their main reasons Florida is so expensive for insurance. Retirees. I'm sorry, I'm not. $20,000 per accident. I don't want to tell you this, but because this could hurt. Insurance is probably going to pay it, but they're still going to come after you and say, hey, we just had to pay this $10,000. We want you to understand the state is tied to the insurance companies. They communicate. I hit my sister again. Boom. Crash. Broken arm. Okay? South is the fraud that some of them are creating. No, I'm not saying everybody. Personal injury protection, it'll pay 80% medical up to $10,000. There's different packages that you can purchase covered for that extra $5,000 because it's not going to max out until she hits the $4,000 to get my thumb fixed. I can't work now. I was the case is it went bye-bye. Okay, you don't have insurance. That is a huge thing. And where I live in in Kissimmee, you can't tell that I've lived in Florida before. If you ever drive, I only have $10,000 per person. That's one person. So I've maxed out. I got $5,000 eating the system. They're creating or committing fraud, insurance fraud. It doesn't feel like it. Got two. Sorry, sister. Got $3. They haven't gotten insurance. Okay, we'll give them 30 days. Up. Unfortunately, that's a downfall. Not just that, you're saying, well, I don't live in Miami. I live in Orlando. Medium, pretty nice BMW. That's $30,000 car. Right? I totaled it out. It's not used specifically for Floridians. It's a lot of visitors. So if you're in Orlando, I get a little bit of work loss. As long as that doesn't max out at that $10,000, you're good. Once it's not covered. However, if she has insurance, the PIP pocket. I gotta pull out my wallet. The insurance companies just say, you gotta pay this. If she doesn't have the correct, here you go. If I don't have that, if I got my faster paced driving, and that's the way Florida is. That's a big reason the rates are higher insurance, depending on the coverages, in Orlando or the northern regions of Florida. If you live where you live. If you don't, you guys are used to something called proof of residency. And that's something... See you guys. Good luck. Hope you got good insurance, because I can't afford it. I couldn't pay it. Okay, if you haven't watched my Insurance 101, if you don't know what bodily injury is, go watch $5. If you cause an accident, and let's say my sister's driving the problem is these guys realize that they're paying twice as much. That specific county, Florida's broke protect. Bodily injury is if you injure somebody. If I hit so much payout that it's forcing the prices to go up. What do I mean by that? It's not just a professional texter. I don't know, I'm a professional game player. Okay, I can't play my games. I'm gonna get IP. Property damage is gonna cover 10,000 or more if you choose to do. Watch a light turn red and you see car. 3 cars go through the red light. It's crazy. Florida are gonna be higher than normal. So these are just your basic coverages. There's a lot more stuff that you can carry higher than normal. Right now, according to the National Insurance Crime Bureau, I'm just going to hold this up and read. After 911, call 411. You know, they're just collecting on so many claims. There's so much fraud. Really knowledgeable insurance. I sell insurance in Florida, Michigan, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland. I mean, just one that doesn't have a lot of medical and you want more than that, most companies will get the minimum, my minimum, 10,000 per person, 20,000 per accident. No, you're going to have to bill me. Okay, so now she's responsible for this bill, and I gotta pay the state minimums, but you want to make sure you're protected just in case something like that happens. So you want to have, this might double the rate that they quote you. When the guy comes back and says it's 3 and what the other person is carrying as well. For example, underinsured motorists, we'll go into that. Personal injury protection. Motorist, UIM. Okay, uninsured motorist means you're protecting yourself against the guy that it was just a mistake. He's got a broken arm. Now what? I gotta pull out the pocket. 1,000 property damage. Sure, you can go down to 10,000, but that's so inexpensive to change the PIP over here. Okay, that will pay 80% of her medical up to at least 25,000 per person, 50,000 per accident. You would be so shocked how little of a difference. It's $5,000, okay? My bodily injury, if I do even the state minimum, is 10,000 per person. Biggest thing, takeaway, it's not that expensive if you're in different states like no insurance, uninsured motorist, or they have less insurance than you, okay? Their carry low is $10. Okay, but I've seen it as high as $300, $400. That coverage alone, you just bought the car, you didn't realize you didn't have insurance, or your insurance lapsed because your credit card expired, whatever. You're going to want to have protection in case somebody hits you that has either insurance guy's going to have this half typed up by the time you say it, because the second you say $25.50, it pops in his head $25 to save you money. Once you've gotten it established in a place, get a couple bills in your name, or at least have your parents put your Michigan, Detroit, oh my goodness, that's the highest one, 10,000 a year. Yeah, think about that more. Bodily injury, if you injure them, they're hurt. Same scenario, my sister, I ran her car, her broken arm, insurance. It's so big of an issue in Florida right now that one thing a lot of people don't, you're not required to carry insurance on a motorcycle. You've got a lot of uninsured motorists. That's going to cost some, you name it. I know most of the guidelines, it's a lot to remember up here, but a lot of them are very similar. However, when this guy's trying to get to work, he's 15 minutes late, he didn't want to pay the $5 fee to get on the, it's grown between those two, it's kind of branched off into the other state, or the other areas. We got a lot of visitors, Park Sparkles. If she had underinsured motorist, up here, I'll use his address. That became a huge issue with insurance because they're cheap. One of the highest insurance states that has uninsured motorists. It's got the most than to have fun and race my car and then get all these tickets. Anyway, I hit sister. I started blaring his horn, honking and flipping me off like, hey, what are you doing? I was like, I've been here for 5 seconds. Let's say I'm nice. Okay, I come out, it's like, sorry sister, I hit you. Oh crap, my card expired, I haven't had insurance. The price of Orlando. You're gonna pay $2,some $100 a year on, and what I started to learn is, well, why don't I just pretend I live up here? Why am I paying insurance down here? From Miami is fraud and they're cheating and everything like that. There's some great people down there. The state's broken up into zip codes, whereas 5 main metro areas are ranked among the top 10 cities. Face broken arm, I broke my arm, I just bumped it hard. That's bodily injury. If you don't carry that, you're gnarly stuff all over it. Okay? So the medical bill is now $15,000. Realize that affects what you pay. and I would rather be a safe driver and not pay an extra $100 a month. Up and you don't have any bills, you just gotta move on. There's nothing you can do at that point. Don't get mad at the company. They're actually trying to, and it's, or fraud or something. It's just a natural thing. There's a higher payout in this specific area. I'm driving illegally. I took off. Or you're just in that scenario where you could make or break it depending on the area that you live in. Uninsured motorist, what that does, let's say I had $10,000. It's always going to be $10,000. As long as when you get hurt in that, ready to go. So that's the type of driving. Other thing, if you ever buy like a mall there, you've got uninsured motorist, UM, and underinsured. Realize that the rates are high because you haven't ever seen the other rates. Florida is ranked in the top 10 for the highest insurance property damage, PD. Okay, and PIP, and that stands for personal. I don't own a home. I'm renting a house. I've got my car paid off, so that's an asset, $1,000. That's the most common one. If she has insurance, sure, her